You've been pretty selfish at this point your whole entire career. What have you done for a lot of fighters? This would be a powerful statement for you to join. So stop it. Stop running. Stop hiding. Stop being selfish. We need all the help we can get in making this union. Conor McGregor, that's the message.
Jake Paul, the self-proclaimed disruptor of boxing, dropped another bombshell on December 29, 2024, by announcing a fight against Conor McGregor. Yes, Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer, believes he's on the verge of making sports history. Instead, he's dragging boxing's reputation further into the realm of circus acts. On one side, we have Jake Paul, a man whose 11-1 boxing record is built on knockouts of
Conor, you're saying the interest is low for the fight.
The interest is low, and I don't know. I don't understand.
Retired MMA fighters. Somehow he's managed to convince himself, and a portion of the public, that he's a legitimate athlete. His crowning achievement, beating Anderson Silva, a UFC legend,
Talking of professional boxers, the next fight could potentially be a professional boxer. I'm just getting started. I'm 26 years old, and there's only so much I can do.
Past his prime. Let's not forget his win against 58-year-old Mike Tyson, who seemed more focused on promoting his cannabis brand than the fight itself. Now enters Conor McGregor, a former UFC champion turned whiskey entrepreneur. Once a pioneer in the octagon, McGregor now seems more committed to marketing than fighting. His last UFC win feels like a distant memory, overshadowed by his infamous antics and injuries. This matchup promises spectacle over substance, a carnival of cringe where boxing purists and MMA fans alike will roll their eyes. But for Paul, it's another shot at viral.
In terms of like face-off views, this is, in my mind, the biggest fight the world will ever see.
They know that it's just like hard to handle for them because they've been like in a spotlight.
Viral fame, for McGregor, it's yet another payday. Sports history? Hardly. Conor McGregor, once a two-division UFC champ, hasn't been relevant in combat sports since 2017, when Floyd Mayweather toyed with him for 10 rounds before ending the spectacle. Since then, McGregor's career has been on life support. Between launching Proper 12 whiskey and posting thirst traps on Instagram, he's been more focused on selling booze than throwing punches. His last notable moment, breaking his leg in 2021, and now he's expected to waltz into a boxing ring and trade punches with Jake Paul, the walking internet troll. Let's call this fight what it really is, a money grab of epic proportions. The media is hyping it as the fight of the century, but what they really mean is the cash grab of the century. Reports suggest this fiasco could generate $250 million. That's right, $250 million for a YouTuber and a semi-retired MMA star to play pretend for a few rounds. Forget skill, legacy, or actual competition. This is about who can stir up the most drama and sell the most pay-per-views. Boxing's new motto might as well be why fight for glory when you can fight for clicks. And let's not overlook the puppet master behind this circus, orchestrating it all for maximum profit. Indian billionaire Anant Ambani is bankrolling this spectacle as part of a
in insane shape.
Man, I wish Conor wasn't doing these types of
tourism campaign to promote India, because nothing says visit India like two rich guys swinging wildly at each other in a stadium, right? The fight is set for Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium, a 33,000-seat venue that will rake in millions more through pay-per-view sales. As for the pre-fight drama, it feels like a bad reality TV episode stretched to its breaking point. Jake Paul has spent years trolling McGregor, throwing tantrums online like a kid denied dessert. From over-the-top trash talk to painfully cringeworthy videos, Jake has tried every attention-seeking stunt imaginable, short of physically showing up at McGregor's door. This fight is nothing more than a circus act. Instead of ignoring Jake Paul like the rest of the world probably should, Conor McGregor took the bait. Now we're watching two grown men reduce boxing to a sideshow act. This fight isn't about proving athletic superiority or honoring the sport. It's about Jake Paul inflating his already overblown ego while feeding his endless need for attention. As for McGregor, he's likely just relieved he doesn't have to face a hungry UFC contender who might actually punch him into next week. Instead, he gets a hefty payday for smacking around a YouTuber who treats boxing gloves like fashion accessories. Jake Paul insists he's taking this fight seriously, because of course he does. The man can't even post an Instagram story without bragging about his training regimen, as though 15 seconds of hitting a speed bag erases years of being a glorified internet clown. He's reportedly been training since early January 2025. Focusing on speed and agility. Sounds impressive on paper, right? Except this is Jake Paul, the same guy who believes his workout montages make him the second coming of Muhammad Ali. Sure, he's got BJ Flores in his corner, a legitimate boxing coach, but let's not get carried away. Having a decent trainer doesn't magically turn Jake into a skilled fighter. His real talent lies in conning people into thinking he's won. This fight isn't about athletic prowess, it's a spectacle designed to milk the public for pay-per-view buys, proving once again that boxing has become more about entertainment than competition. Side note, I really don't know why this was removed from the features section. Side note, respectfully, Matt. Jake Paul has made a career out of carefully avoiding anyone who poses a real threat. Meanwhile, Conor McGregor is attempting a comeback that borders on miraculous, considering he snapped his leg like a twig in 2021. Credit where it's due, McGregor has put in the grind. He spent years in rehab and is now trying to adapt his MMA skills to boxing rules. Admirable? Sure, but let's not forget his last serious foray into boxing was back in 2017, where Floyd Mayweather toyed with him for 10 rounds before calling it a night. McGregor's determination is commendable, but after years out of the boxing ring, one has to wonder if his body can match his ambitions. He's still got heart, but do his legs still have it? Physically, this matchup is odd. Jake Paul, standing at 6'1" and weighing around 190 pounds, holds a clear size advantage. But let's not confuse size.
What do you think about Conor tweeting still at like 3 a.m. like coked out?
He sent shots at me and Ryan talking shit. It's crazy coming from Conor, who literally got out of the USADA pool to do legit steroids. And I was the biggest Conor fan for a long time. In the last couple weeks, ever since he sent that, I've been trying to hate him. I've been trying to be like, fuck you, Conor. But I can't. I love Conor.
With skill, Jake's height and weight have given him an edge against retired MMA fighters and washed-up celebrities. Not against someone like McGregor, who has fought legitimate killers in the UFC. McGregor at 5'09" and around 170 pounds. Might be smaller, but he's used to facing opponents who actually know what they're doing. Jake's toughest competition so far, a nearly 60-year-old Mike Tyson, who likely spent more time pondering his next cannabis product than preparing for the fight. And then there are the betting odds. Shockingly, Jake Paul is favored to win at 175. Let that sink in. A YouTuber turned boxer is favored over a former UFC champion. If that doesn't sum up the absurdity of this spectacle, what does? Conor McGregor as the underdog at 155? Yes, you heard that right. The YouTuber turned boxer is favored over Conor McGregor. If that doesn't make you question the state of boxing, what will? Sure, Jake Paul is younger and has a size advantage, but let's not kid ourselves. His career is being built on carefully curated matchups against opponents who are too old, too small, or too irrelevant to pose a real threat. Now, let's talk about the so-called experts. Paulie Malignaggi, never one to shy away from a hot take, has gone on record saying Jake Paul might actually knock out McGregor. Yes, the same Jake Paul who made a name pulling pranks on YouTube is now being hyped as a potential KO artist against one of MMA's most iconic fighters. If that doesn't make you cringe, nothing will. Meanwhile, Eddie Alvarez, a former UFC champion, has pointed out the logistical nightmare McGregor faces just to make this fight happen. UFC contracts are notoriously restrictive, and Dana White isn't exactly known for letting his fighters run off to chase clout in sideshow boxing matches. The obstacles are real, but in the world of combat sports cash grabs, anything seems possible. The fans are as divided as ever. Jake Paul's loyal fanbase is hyping this as the moment he finally proves he's a legitimate fighter. Meanwhile, McGregor's supporters are hoping to see Jake served a much-deserved slice of humble pie. Then there's the rest of us, rolling our eyes at what is clearly a glorified cash grab. Let's not kid ourselves. This fight isn't happening because it makes sense in any sporting context. It's happening because it's set to generate an obscene amount of money. Let's call it what it is, the ultimate spectacle. Jake Paul gets to stroke his ego while continuing to play the role of real fighter, and McGregor collects a fat paycheck without the risk of another leg-snapping UFC disaster. And for the audience? we get to watch boxing sink further into the realm of reality TV. Whether Jake secures a win or McGregor pulls off a dramatic comeback, the only real victor here is the money, because this isn't about athleticism or legacy. It's about selling drama. And if there's one thing Jake Paul and Conor McGregor know how to do, it's sell drama in spades.